Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Giuseppina. Juicy is the short form nickname of that. And welcome to my channel. I'm an intuitive healer, holistic practitioner, and I talk about a lot of my own experiences and healing topics and things like that. Especially in the last year, I've been sharing a lot about my journey with learning that I am autistic and how that, let me just shut this door here, and how that translates for me and how my experience has been as I discover new things about myself. And I find it helpful sharing that so that other people watching this who are also experiencing that can feel, I guess you can say, validated or not feel alone or have some semblance of, um, you know, a confirmation of sorts when you feel like, oh my goodness, like I'm alone in this experience, but you're not. There's a lot of people who are possibly going through the same things as you that you had no idea, and so hopefully this helps other people. So welcome to my channel. I want to say that I finally got a new camera. This is I made a little video with my boyfriend. I'm not going to post it. I don't have a video editing software, otherwise I would put it together and add like a little blooper reel of what it is. But I bought this yesterday, and he was looking online, and he found that Staples, I'm going to show you really quickly, Staples had this AverMedia live streamer cam 313 on sale for only $59. That's here in Canada. By the way, I don't know where you're watching from, but I'm in Toronto, and it was on sale for $59.99. So it was a great deal. I looked at the reviews, and um, the biggest selling point for me was how vivid the camera looked in comparison to the Logitech one. And obviously, because of my budget right now, and my channel is not monetized. I get no money from doing this right now. And, I'm saving up because we're going to be moving into a new space soon. And so I don't have those kind of funds to spend on a good camera. Because if you watch those YouTube channels that tell you, if you're someone who's looking to start a channel, and they'll say like, go buy this camera and invest in your YouTube, and it's like, they dropped like these names that are like $1,000, $2,000 for cameras, and honestly, like, I don't have that kind of money to drop on a camera, and maybe some people do, but I definitely do not. And so, if you're someone who wants a really decent camera, now this is obviously is not a camera that you can bring along with you places, because it is a USB camera, so you have to attach it to your computer or your laptop or whatever device you're using. And but for $60, and the quality is pretty good. I am using, so the I recorded 2 videos with the microphone from here and the microphone from my Blue Yeti, and I'm using the Blue Yeti one because the microphone, Halo, what are you doing? The microphone from the AverMedia one is very loud and picks everything up, and which is fine if because it's a live streamer one, and maybe if you're from a distance it works better, but because I'm so close to the camera, it's very shh. And you probably change the settings to change the microphone volume, but I have my Blue Yeti, which works really well, and so I'm using that right now. So anyways, so I do have a new camera, which means I can do the long format ones for, again, because I couldn't for a while because my laptop told me that I didn't have a camera all of a sudden. It was gone, and I tried to troubleshoot it in various different ways, and I just could not. And I even tried to uninstall it and put it in. It's just like, then it was gone, and I was like, forget it. Like, I'm not gonna do all this work to try to fix a camera that was awful anyways. So I got this one, and it works great, and so this is perfect for now. Anyways, that was just my little intro to why I can finally record a long video and why you haven't seen one in a bit. So welcome if you've made it past this point. Thank you for joining me. So today's topic is something that I made a quick video about on my Instagram, and I think I just talked about it in my stories, and it was in response to someone's video that they made, and I forget her name right now. She's on Instagram, and I don't remember her name right now, but I follow her, and she made a comment about how it's funny how, as an autistic person, you end up being like your friend's psychologist, counselor, or whatever, and yet, you're there for them, and you involve them in your life in all these big ways. and yet you're only there for them in that capacity because they don't invite you to certain things, they don't involve you in certain things. And I was like looking at this and I'm like, this is like so true. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the how autistic people misinterpret connections thing. And they're different things, but they go hand in hand. I find that they go hand in hand, these two things. This is a phenomena that I have experienced my whole life, and it wasn't something until recently that I really started looking at. When I say recently, I mean like in the last like 4 or 5 years. And that was and I'm still looking at this, and I still see it happening with some people that I know that are my friends, and it's just like such a weird phenomena to me. And I wonder, like, I'm curious, like, how other autistic people feel about this, because this is something that really bothers me and really, really goes hand in hand with the misinterpreting connections thing. And yet you are always there for your friends to that capacity, to be like there for them for these deep moments, and yet they don't involve you in deep moments of their life. So let's sit back and talk about this. So do you ever notice that with your friends that when they're going through issues and things like that, they have, they'll always reach out to you and want to dump on you? And I don't want to say dump, because it's like I'm fully, like, I love to be there for my friends. I do, honestly. I love to be there for my friends. But in this case, I'm going to call it dump, because they only talk to you when they want to dump you. And so, and maybe, I don't know, like, right now, like, I've kind of like pulled back from a lot of people, just because I feel like I always really show up for people, and I feel like a lot of people don't show up for me in the same way. So I've had to really pull back my energy, not because I'm being spiteful or petty, but because I'm in burnout, and my new job is like very, very time consuming and takes up a lot of energy, and I have no choice but to work that job. And it's a full-time job, and I didn't work full-time before. For over 2 years I did not work full-time, and I also have my own practice, and I also do this content and stuff like that. So for me to work full-time job, and that is very high volume and very busy, and also have to do my practice and also see clients and do the social media stuff, is a lot. And I have a relationship, and so it's like really hard for me to I already have like low spoons all the time, so I cannot afford to be investing in people who literally do not invest in me. Like, I just can't. I cannot do it. I'm in burnout and I just can't. So I have to be very mindful of that. So going back to that, do you ever have friends who just kind of like, every time they're going through like something really dramatic or big in their life, or they're upset and they need like to vent about it, they suddenly like really share these like deep emotions with you, and you somehow have the capacity, if you're like me, who obviously your special interest is psychology, and I studied in university, and I went on to become a counselor, and this is my, what I do as my practice. And so for someone who's really good at that, who has high empathy and who's able to give that kind of support to people, like, you often get people kind of wanting that support from you, and they'll talk to you, and when there's something and you give them brilliant advice, brilliant empathy and support, and that you can be like this huge place to like receive them and hold space for them and stuff like that. And yet you find that they don't necessarily do the same for you. But there's more to that. So when there's like things happening in your life, you know, include those people in those things. You share that information with them. You invite them to things, and you include those people in your life to that capacity. And yet I find that a lot of those people didn't include you, and they left you out, or they flaked on you and canceled plans on you easily, and vice versa, not vice versa, but so on and so forth. And so this isn't very like common now, but it still kind of happens to some degree, unfortunately, with some connections that I have. But it was a theme that happened very, very regularly for me when I was growing up. And people would have like these big events, and I wouldn't even get an invite, not only would I not get an invite, but I wouldn't even be told about it and be left out. And this is what I mean about like the misinterpreting connections, where you perceive a friendship to be much deeper than it actually is, and yet people don't involve you in the things that are like meaningful and important in their life. They don't involve you in those things. They don't keep you up to date with those things. And it feels hurtful. It feels so incredibly hurtful when you care for someone a lot and you think that they're important to you, and they are important to you, and you share those important things with them, and they don't freaking share any of that stuff with you, and it just goes by without them sharing. And then you hear about it later, and it's like, oh, and then they'll either like, shrug it off or make an excuse for it or something. But yet they just kind of like, when something else happens that's really big, they come to you and need to like talk to you like, oh my god, this happened, and then you just give them support. And I'm tired of that rhetoric. I'm tired of like that scenario. I'm tired of that always happening in my life. I'm tired of people not including me in their life and making me feel that I'm important in their life, but then feeling the need to have to share these really important emotions with me. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, like now I'm starting to feel like you're a free therapist at this point. And no, my rate for a session is $130 an hour. And I have these people who don't talk to me ever, but they only want to talk to me when they're upset. And it's like, at this point, I want to be like, man, like, I just want to like, maybe I should just charge you my fee, like what I charge like clients who need to talk to me, like, man, or go pay a psychotherapist. The going rate for psychotherapists in Toronto is like, I think 145 plus tax or whatever it is, and some of them are like up to 200 or more. So go see a psychotherapist. And I'm not saying this to throw shade on like people, because I am always ready to be there to listen to my friends and be there for anyone who knows me. And my friend knows that I'm the first one to show up for my friends. And I think that's the problem, is that I'm so willing to show up for people who are not showing up for me. And I was talking to my boyfriend about this the other day, because he's so good. He's so good at holding space for me and showing up for me, which is exceptional, because that definitely was not the case with my last partnerships. And I haven't been in a relationship for like a decade, and that was intentional. It was intentional that I didn't date, because I had to change a pattern after 2 abusive relationships. I had 2 long-term relationships. One was like 5-6 years or whatever it was, and the next one was about 4 or 5 years. And after that, I knew I had to like do something to change that pattern and heal, because I did not want to repeat that pattern. So I went to work on healing and changing and everything. And then when I started dating, finally, I just created boundaries. And so I found someone who is able to be the things that I need and that I require, who can show up for me and all those things. But I also have to make sure that I was able to be in that space and receive that. So to become a match of what you're looking for. So becoming a match to that, and then only allowing that to come through. So why I'm saying that is that like, he's able to show up for me, and I show up for him as well. But some of my close friendships that I have are like that as well. Like, that's only what the kind of friendships I want to entertain now. It's just exhausting, because I am in burnout, to be in those types of things where people don't consider me. And I know it's really hard, because I know sometimes with neurodivergent people, people don't, and I never hold people against like that don't talk to me for like a long time, because they just like message me after once in a while or whatever, because I get it. You forget to answer that response, like that message, especially if you're ADHD and stuff like that, and once the message is gone, you forget about it, and that's totally fine. But to have your life go on and never share these important things, and never inviting like all these other people and not me ever, it just kind of makes me realize that I'm like, I don't know if the expression is an okay expression to use, but like, I'm the low man on the totem pole. Is that the expression? I think I think it's like low man on I apologize if that's not a good expression, or if it means something bad, but I remember using that expression. Like, I remember that expression growing up, like low on the totem pole means like you have a lower hierarchy or something, I think, and then so you're not as important or whatever. And so I really felt that way in my connections and friendships. And yet when it came for someone to hold their feelings and to help them navigate through these very difficult emotions, I seemed to be the person that was able to do that for them. So I was good enough to hold those really important sacred things, but not good enough to involve in your regular everyday life. And I didn't understand that. I still don't understand that. And it's like such a weird thing to me. And so, anyways, this is what I wanted to talk about, how I really agree with that statement that as autistic people, you seem to be great at being the counselor, psychologist, or whatever for your friends, your therapist, but not good enough to be that other person to invite to things, to make plans with, to involve in the details of your life and share those things. And I just find it confusing, and I also find it hurtful. And yeah, it's shitty. It's shitty. That's what I want to say. It's pretty shitty, and I don't want it anymore. And part of me like makes it difficult for me to like share that with other people and explain it to them, because I don't know, I've always been the kind of person where if I felt like I'm not wanted, or I'm, obviously with RDS, rejection, um, is it RSD? I always forget. The rejection, whatever it's called. I can't think right now. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. It's gonna bother me. Give me a second here. I know the word. Rejection sensitive dysphoria, RSD. So I have obviously, not obviously, but I do have that, and so I take those things a lot harder than most people. But I try to like really be logical about it, and really talk myself through it, and not immediately like, oh my god, this person hates me or whatever. But I really have done a lot of work and therapy and self-work and reflection, and have enough self awareness to be able to talk myself on the ledge when I get really activated that way. However, I've been really good at looking at what is there, and so when people really just don't show me like the kind of attention that I deserve, as like, just common decency to another human being, the only way that I know how to react in those situations is to pull back. And it's not because I can't really talk to people. I mean, that's some of the reason, but I always find that people are not honest. And so even if I were to say something to them, I would just get an excuse in return. Or maybe I would get someone being defensive, or maybe, whatever. And so in some cases, it might be worth my while to be open and upfront and talk to them. But in some other instances, it's not worth my while to do that. And so I've been known to cut people off in my life. And I'm not sorry about that. I want you to know that I'm not sorry about that. And if any of those people are watching this video right now, some people in particular, I'm not sorry that I had to do that. Because time and time and again, you have shown me that my time was not important to you. And that you have found numerous ways to pass over me and ignore me and leave me out on numerous occasions, over and over again, when I have tried to be a part of your life through so many capacities. This video has taken a really different turn that I wanted, but it's okay. I'm glad that this is coming up, because maybe this is something I need to release. But I'm not sorry for that, and don't feel sorry if you need to cut people off sometimes. And you get to decide who is worth the conversation. And sometimes I need to tell, sometimes if it's important enough, I might talk it up. But sometimes you might have said it more than once about what your issue is with someone, and they don't respond to that the way that you need, or respond to it in any way. And so at some point, how many times are you going to say something to someone? So you need to act accordingly. So I'm just curious if this is something that has happened in your life with the people in your life. Like, what are good ways for you that make you feel good? Because at the same time, it can feel very dysregulating when you're in this type of situation, because it kind of brings up that like walking on eggshells feeling for me, because I feel uncomfortable all of a sudden, because when I don't know my place in someone's life, that makes me feel so uncomfortable. I don't like that. And this for me, I'm not sure if it's, for, I don't think this is like, it might be an autistic thing, but for me specifically, this also is because I have been in situations where I've had to walk on eggshells with people in the past and where I didn't know my position in their life and had blurred lines, relationships, especially romantic relationships, where there was no label or, you know, things like that. And so for me, it's very important to know what my place is in someone's life. This is very important to me because I am so used to misinterpreting connections, because what you see is not what you get, unfortunately. And people are so fickle and they're so flaky and stuff like that. And I just don't have the time and capacity for that. My life is so busy. I'm in burnout. I have so many things that I need to tend to that are more urgent, and I cannot use energy to sit here and try to, you know, decipher codes and messages about how people are acting. And sometimes it's worth asking people, but sometimes you're just like, I don't have time for this. And so I don't want to be the free therapist to my friends or to people anymore. I don't want to be that. So if you want like free therapy, you can listen to me talk and yammer on here and support my YouTube channel by all means. But these are people that just don't do any of that. They don't support my content either, and so they just are people that drop in my life when they just want to unload stuff like that, and I just don't have the capacity for that anymore. So if you're someone who has experienced this a lot in your life and you are on the receiving end of that, of, always being the therapist for other people, by people not showing up for you or people not including you in their lives, sharing these important details of their life, and just kind of like letting things pass by without even like notifying you, and it's like, oh, why didn't, like, what, oh, you moved, oh, you it's like these are people that are your best friends, your closest friends. Like if it's an acquaintance, like who cares, right? Like, and you don't, it's not that you owe people like to share all the details of your life, but you would think that if someone is that close to you and that you value them that much, that you would include them in these big milestones in your life, and especially when you are, and if they feel the need to want to share such really detailed, profound feelings with you. So in my opinion, those people are just using you because you have the capacity to hold that space for them and to be that person for them. And so they're using you because they feel bad in a situation and they know they can get their needs met by you and dump on you and unload on you. And that's using someone, because it's not a transactional thing anymore, because what are you getting from it? You're just being a good friend and they're dumping, but they're not giving you the same in return and stuff. So anyway, just my 2 cents for today. So I'm curious if you have also experienced this, and that goes back on the thing I saw, that for autistic people it seems to be that we easily become the therapist counselor for our friends, and yet they are never, we're not good enough to be invited or kept in the loop about important details of their life. So that is my experience. Got emotional there for a moment. Not sorry about that for not even a bit. But I just wanted to say I'm happy I finally have a camera, and thanks for being here. And I'm almost at like 500 followers, which is great. It's been almost a year that I've been actively trying to build my YouTube channel, and they said it takes up to 15 months to make 1,000. And it's almost a year and I haven't even made 500 yet. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but whatever. I'm still going to make videos even if it's not like monetized. My views are like very low, so I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's okay. I'll keep doing this because I enjoy making videos. And I know a lot of people do appreciate my content. And I thank you. I thank you so much for all the comments that you leave. Like, you have no idea how much it means to me. So thank you so much. Thanks for being here. As per usual, do like and subscribe if you are here, because I really would appreciate that, and it shows like support and helps me to get to that goal that I want. And we had our last Calm Collective this Friday, and it was so powerful and amazing. If you don't know what that is, the Calm Collective is a monthly group hypnotherapy that I do. I'm a registered certified hypnotherapist, and I hold a group hypnotherapy once, usually the first Friday of every month. And yeah, and it's centered around, it's called the Calm Collective, and it's centered around being, you know, helping you to program more, create new neural pathways and subconscious programming around feeling more calm and being in our power and feeling more grounded and being in peace and things like that. And it's a really beautiful space. And this one was really, really lovely and powerful. The next one is happening in obviously in May. I'll post it soon. And it's a pay what you can event. So, because I realize not everyone has the funds to do these things, which is totally fine. It's a pay what you can event, and I will obviously put the information down below. You should check it out. If you haven't yet, you should come. It's a really beautiful space. So, anyways, thanks for being here so much. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I will talk to you soon. And that is it. Have a good one. Bye.